The one thing you're doing wrong when you have an anxious attachment style. Let's talk about what actually works. If you obsess over what you did wrong, or maybe if you keep trying to fix the disconnection by doing more, then this message and this episode is for you. Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. I'm Yula. I'm the anxious attachment style coach, and I have been there, lived through it, and came out to the other side. I'm secure now, not 100%. We are never really 100%. We are never really 100% secure. Healing is not like an end goal. We are all always just healing throughout and just learning, and we grow as we go along. But I'm so much more secure now as I have been years ago. I was super anxious and insecure and worrying and overthinking everything years ago, and now I'm like living on the other side, and it feels so good. And I want to talk about this one thing that I see that we are all doing wrong. I used to do wrong all the time, and yeah, let's talk about this. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. So one of the biggest mistakes I see in my clients, and I did too, is that when you are triggered, you do more. You go towards the problem with all the force you have. And this is a problem because your partner is doing less. They are retrieving, and that triggers you more. So you do more and they do less. And this is triggering each other's wounds even harder. You go too hard into the problem. You try to fix it. You start to explaining, asking, helping, managing, correcting, reminding, smothering, micromanaging, criticizing, being contemptuous. And sometimes you're not even yelling necessarily, but there's a sigh and a huff and a puff. That was me, basically. You're being very using criticism, which is one of the 4 killers. If you know the Gottmans, who researched married couples for ages and figured out what makes a marriage last and what really leads to divorce, in the end. And maybe it's a controlling tone, like an undertone, or it's a rolling eyes and the why didn't you energy. And it can look like in lots of different ways. It could be criticizing your partner when there's distance, or when they do something wrong in your eyes, and when they didn't meet your needs or your list of expectation and your very high standards. Could be just trying to help them to do better, giving them a whole TED talk about your needs and what they should do and why they haven't done this, and reminding them again about what you talked about already, really treating them like a child, picking up their slack, then resenting them for it later. Over and over again, talking about them with your girlfriends and chatting about them, why they're not capable. And you're not doing this because you're crazy or because you're mean or you're too much. You're doing this because your nervous system is activated, and really want to understand that. And this is not about talking bad about you, about us. It's really understanding this part first, why we're doing this, why they're doing this, so we can really find a path of what is actually working. So your body is literally just trying to protect you. Your brain is always thinking of not where's happiness, but where's safety. It's easy for your brain to say, there's danger. It's much easier to point their fingers instead of being vulnerable. It's much easier to say, they are going to leave you. They're the problem. They should be doing this instead. Rather than saying, hey, you know what? Maybe did I activate their defensiveness, their shutdown right now? What could I do here as well to meet them in the middle? And your brain sees it as danger. So you go into your fight mode. And you have heard, I'm sure, about fight or flight, where you go into fight and your partner goes into flight. Fight is when you're activated and you're trying to solve the problem with being proactive, while your partner's into flight, meaning they're trying to run away from the problem. So you're chasing your partner, you're trying to literally hold him back. It's like, hey, let's talk about this, let's fix this. And your partner's like, I need to escape, I'm overwhelmed, this is dangerous, this is a trap. And there's nothing you can do to change really your survival state, your survival response, but to just self-soothe first, to do less, to not focus on your partner, but to focus on, hey, what can I do right now? And doing more is exactly the worst thing you can do. So when you're anxiously attached, you're in fight energy. You're chasing for closeness. You want to resolve the tension now. Maybe you want to talk it out now. You can't resist until it's fixed. You would hate to maybe go separate ways even and then come back to it later or maybe next day. Your brain is scanning for every facial expression. You're working overtime to feel safe again. Your avoidant partner, on the other hand, maybe they go the opposite direction. Safety for them feels like avoiding everything, not even thinking about this. That feels like the best thing on the planet. So freeze mode is when they actually shut down and are unable to talk or speak or say something, where you maybe like attack. It's like, hey, why are you not saying anything? Why are you not acting? But your partner's literally shut down and overwhelmed. Or again, they use their fight response and they actually walk away. That could be possible as well. And then you have this, explosion at some point. You're both in survival. You're both reacting in the opposite ways. And the more your partner maybe shuts down or walks away, the more you are then activated and triggered. And the more you activate and triggered and go at him, at your partner, the more then your partner is activated and runs away and shuts down even more. And it's like this push and pull. And one has to make a start in breaking this cycle. And this isn't just about relationships, this is also a survival pattern that leaks into lots of other areas of your life. For example, this is also how you attach to work or how you rest and how you move through the world. So you might be an overachiever. Lots of my clients they're very smart people and they're trying to think about the solution over and over again. They think thinking their way out of it will give them the solution, but it won't. Let's say you're an overachiever, you're the one everyone comes to, or you're the one doing 15 things before noon, or you're the one on top of everything, work, home, friends, always the one preparing for birthdays and parties and doing everything at the same time. You look so high functioning, but deep down you're never really off. You can't just switch, the flip. You can't fully enjoy the present moment and just do nothing because your brain is scanning for what's next. It's the only thing that makes you feel like you're okay. Maybe you also plan the holiday, book the table, carry the conversation, send the follow-up text. You get these things done, but you don't know how to ask for help. You don't know how to rest without feeling guilty. You don't know when to shut down your laptop, your phone, and even your mind. You think your value is being useful and doing more and doing everything for everyone. Then that's also, for example, the gym girl or the gym guy who doesn't just work out to just feel good, but to work out as part of an obsession. You need to work out to really... if you don't work out, you just don't feel good anymore, even if it's just for a day. If you skip it, you just feel gross or guilty and not good enough, and you're not moving for joy anymore. You're moving because without it, your self-worth drops a lot. Or you're a super mom who's doing everything all the time and has to compete maybe with other moms at the same time. You're doing the laundry, the lunchbox, the emotional labor. You multitask like a machine, but your nervous system is completely fried. By the way, multitasking is not a thing. Our brain can't do that. It actually switches between tasks all the time. The nervous system is so triggered, eventually you will burn out. It's just a matter of when and how fast. So, and your partner feels just like, one more thing on the to-do list. And if your kids interrupt you, you might snap easily back because you don't have time to do all of these things. And sometimes they're just like an interruption. So this is really important to notice. These are all triggering things on top of each other. And it's often the same root cause. Your worth has been tied to doing more, producing. Your safety has been tied to performing. If your body has learned, if I stop, I'm not safe. That's a problem. And it's not just your partner you're trying to prove yourself to, it's your whole life as well. Noticing is the first step. So your body kind of thinks we're still back in the cave time. Back then, if we got disconnection from the tribe, from the group, we could literally die. So now your partner, if they're going to go quiet, your nervous system reacts like you're about to be eaten from a tiger, about to be kicked out of the group and left alone in the jungle. When you're about to freeze and have to hunt for yourself and try to, get a cave for yourself and do everything for yourself, which is impossible. And even though nothing dangerous is happening you're right now, because now you're safe, now you're capable, your body doesn't know it yet. So that's why we have to teach it through little things, 1% every day. We don't heal through time, we heal through nervous system action steps, that we're not in danger anymore, that we are safe now, that rejection isn't something dangerous, that abandonment isn't safe, that abandonment is safe. How do we do this? How do we teach our body that we're safe, even if our mind maybe spirals? And no, you don't have to do something huge to regulate your nervous system. You don't have to go to this big retreat. Yeah, retreats are amazing, but it starts really through everyday tiny shifts that tell your nervous system we are slowing down and we are safe now. And every time when you do a tiny action to release your emotions, releasing stress and this anxiety, and these are actually things I did as well and I'm still doing with myself every day. I actually lived like this in this anxious spirals for years. I stressed, I was anxious a lot, and now I learned through everyday action steps how to create more safety within myself. I have rituals created and habits I do every day, but also through everyday interactions. For example, I stopped running to a bus when I lived in London, because now here are not many buses. You can hardly ever get a bus unless you have to wait like 2 hours in the heat in Sicily. But when I used to live in London and I, went to work and I wanted to catch a bus or a train, I was not running for them anymore. And it sounds maybe silly to you and you think, oh wait, you rather come late to work? No, I set my alarm accordingly so that I wouldn't even have to stress in the morning. I literally created a very slow life for myself. It might sound boring for some, but for someone who really hit rock bottom, who had migraines so strong that you told yourself, you know what, you're going to do everything to live your slowest life, channel your inner Buddha, your inner monk, to become the least stressful person. And I taught my body that we are not in a rush. We are not escaping from a tiger anymore. We are safe, because if your heartbeat is increased, it's like you are running away from something, you're escaping, and that equals anxiety. So I didn't want to do this anymore, even if it's just tiny little things like running to a bus and even opening an email or avoiding an email at work. I was slowing down and I was telling myself this is going to be okay, and reading words out slowly. I started walking slower even on purpose, or I started talking slower, especially when I felt anxious, or especially when I was scared. I usually was talking very fast at work. Right now I can talk a bit faster in my podcast because that's a little bit different, because I know everyone has a short attention span, and later I will cut out the pauses, which will make it appear much faster. But I also stop multitasking, like doing 3 or 5 things at once. I sat with my tea in the morning without scrolling on social media. I'm hardly on my phone. I go for a walk and literally watch tiny little things. I watch the birds, I watch the trees. It sounds very cringe. Anyway, I'm going way too far. But anyway, slowing down and really enjoying these magical moments of life helps you to also connect to things, to that are regulating for your nervous system, while at the same time releasing the negative ones, like anxiety, by just breathing through it and telling your body that you're safe, that you are connected to this planet. Deep breathing was a big part of me, listening to like YouTubers, putting my noise cancelling headphones on, and even if it's just 5 minutes a day, because I was someone who struggled to say, okay, I'm gonna do like half an hour of meditation or breath work. It was so hard to even start, or journaling. So I told myself, you know what? If I just do 5 minutes of breath work a day, I really accomplished something huge. I don't know if you are one of the people who's struggling with doing their bed in the morning, but I felt like it's something like this. It felt so heavy when you do this, when you start doing it, but even telling yourself, I'm doing 1 minute of breath work, just alone by putting on this YouTube breath work of breathing with Sandy, for example, and putting on my headphones, just alone by starting this, it made a huge impact, because this creates self-trust. It shows to yourself that you can start things and stick to it eventually. And every time when you release your emotions, when you breathe through it, you release all part of yourself that were stuck in your body, like anxiety, or emotions when you felt insecure, shame, all of this. And every time you release them, you feel more safe, more regulated. And it takes lots of micro moments to do this, but eventually you will get there and you feel a huge difference over time. So yeah, I tried my body to relax even when there was nothing wrong, not just in moments when I was triggered, when I was anxious and overwhelmed, but also when everything was okay. Even when, I used to hate years ago when I arrived at this fashion place. I worked in London in this fashion industry, so it was very hectic and stressful. And when we worked late at night until like 10 or 11 or 12 or even longer, sometimes we were able to, come later and to work the next day. But the moments I did, like I came like an hour late, let's say at 10 a.m. into work in the office, and everyone was running around like crazy. We were so hyper stressed, and I had to jump into work right away. I felt so triggered right away that I realized, this is not a good start into the morning, into the work. I would have rather slowed down and started early to like start with a good foundation. So remember this, if you breathe like you are in a marathon all day long, if you move like someone is chasing you and like you're being attacked, if you live like everything is urgent and dangerous and you have to do this right now, you're telling your brain, I'm not safe, I'm in danger. And that shows up in your nervous system as well, and you're going to be more dysregulated every day and more triggered, and you're traumatizing yourself every day more and more. However, if you do the opposite, if you slow down and take 10 steps back and move like a sloth through the day, even if it's extremely hard at the beginning, you will regulate yourself more and more. You don't have to do big, huge action steps to do this. Tiny things help. So stop trying to fix the relationship when you're panicking. Stop trying to perform your way into love. Stop trying to overdo, overgive, and overprove. Instead, trying to regulate, slow down, and take care of you first. Because if you are able to take care of you, then you can also take care of better of your friends, of your kids, of your partner, of your work, and everything around you. So a few steps you can do. Again, step away when you're triggered and tell yourself, I'm okay. Part of me feels anxious, but I know I'm okay. This moment shall pass. Name the feeling out loud, perhaps, like I feel anxious, a part of me feels anxious, I feel tight, but this will only last a few moments. Shake off your body, at least for 30 seconds, like a dog does it, right? It's like a reset. Emotions is energy in motion. So it needs to move through your body. Cold water, ice, and breath work really helps. Exhale longer than inhales. Belly breathing, don't do shallow breaths. If you're very anxious, we often hold our breath or breathe very shallow. Deep breathing, breathe into your belly. And ground yourself. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and connect to your nature. Find a rainbow if you don't have one. Even look at clouds. Realize you're part of something bigger. Connect to your senses. Smell something around you. If there's nothing you can smell, feel the feet on your ground, notice what you see around you, focus on things that are positive or that are glimmers, that are even neutral. Maybe feel your own skin, put a hand on your heart. Maybe you can hear the sound of birds, sound of nature. Maybe you can feel some, fresh air, the wind on your skin. Maybe you can feel the sun on your skin as well, the warmth. That is also very regulating. Only once you're regulated, you can speak your needs without blaming your partner. You can pause instead of overthinking and spiraling. You can then let your partner also come to you better, because love isn't something you have to work for. Love is something you are safe to receive. You just have to slow down enough to be able to, receive it better. And just remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought, action by action, and now episode by episode. And if you want more support, one-on-one support, my courses or free resources, check out the attachment library below. And I'll see you in the next one. Lots of love, Yula. Bye bye.